I'm live on YouTube. Oh, look at my look at that pile of stuff behind me. Whoa, that is a pile. That's very distracting, actually. This is my life. This is my creative life right here, just in case you wanted to see it. I'm actually gonna go live on you on Instagram too. So give me a second to set that up, YouTubers. YouTubers. Choctomatene. All right, let's do this real quick. Oh, goodness gracious. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are. We are here. We are here. And it is happening. Okay. Hold on. Hold on a second. Oh, my life. My life be like, know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? My life. My life. My life. Awesome. Awesome. My life is awesome. My life is awesome. Okay, so before I do anything else, I want to actually Google something first. All right, here we go. I am live and it's Wednesday for real. Yesterday, I totally did a live and it was Tuesday, and I was like, oh, it's Tuesday, but I kept saying Wednesday. But that's because I have it in my calendar to do a live every other Wednesday. And so when I got that notification, I was like immediately like, oh crap, I gotta go live right now. And little did I know that it was actually Tuesday. But oh, hey, Rashad, what's up? Nice to connect with you here. Even though we haven't finished our challenge, our dance challenge, which is still on my mind, but forgive me for the delay. Anyway, so just so you guys know, this is my part of my weekly commitments. Weekly commitment, my monthly commitment, my yearly commitment to be able to show up for you guys on Wednesdays. Every other Wednesday, I'm locking it in my calendar so that I can show up and I can serve you guys in whatever way you need. So, granted, I will give a little bit more promo time so that you guys can compile your questions that you have, like if you're dealing with anything, or if you just want to have a discussion about something. Dancers have a lot of thoughts and feelings, so we love to talk about it. And also, just in general, I'm continuing to create a space where dancers, honestly, all creatives, because we all kind of have the same ecosystems, right? And habits. I want to create a space where we can all just kind of connect and also, yeah, feel like we're supported in our processes and in our journeys, because it is a unique process that isn't for everybody. Thanks, Rashad. Thank you. It's not for everybody. It is not for the faint of heart. So there's that. And second of all, like, it is a lonely journey being an artist sometimes, where you're like stuck in your own little brain and your own like creativity and your like own flow. And then you're like, oh, I'm all by myself, but this work is awesome. But also, like, where's everybody? You know what I'm saying? And then also we can break down the whole constructs of competition within our community, as far as like dance particularly. We're kind of pegged against each other a lot of times, for whether it be gigs or literally competition, like competitions or battles, if you will, if you're in like the street culture. So yeah, it gets really problematic, but I just wanted to kind of continue showing up consistently to, yeah, just be here and support you guys in whatever you need. So next time, get your questions ready. I'm here for it. Even if you're listening right now, if you have a question, feel free. If you don't have a question now because you're not listening live, that's totally fine. Send them my way anyway. Send them my way anyway. Okay, Joanna, what's up, mama? Anyways, so let me go off on a little tangent. If you guys have questions, please feel free to chime in, send them my way, etc., etc. But I want to go off on a little tangent as far as something that I came across recently. So James Whistler, I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. He is this American painter. He was actually based primarily in the UK. But he was very active during the American Gilded Age. Oh gosh, I'm not entirely sure when that was, but it was basically in the period between the 1870s and 1890s, just so you know, history buffs. But this guy, as an artist himself, born in Massachusetts and then spending tons of time in in the UK, he said this quote. So, artists are not paid for their labor, but paid for their vision. James Whistler. Hashtag. So let's break this down a little bit. What does this even mean? Artist is paid not for his labor, but for his vision. And you also have to think about the context of when he said this too. Because this guy, 1834 to 1903 was a completely different time, right? To where we are now, right? So I'm going to do this. I love researching stuff because it is like bang on for me to do this. Okay, so we're talking about he was kind of in the age of the first industrial revolution. 1820s, 1840s. Okay. And then segueing into America, right? Starting off in Britain. Yeah, and then the US kind of joined in, right? So we are clearly post-industrial revolution. We are now in this whole like information age, if you will. And I don't really know all the labels of where we're at in history, but clearly, pre-industrial revolution to post-industrial revolution, that time was super, bear with me now, super key in how the constructs that we are very familiar with have kind of continued on in how we've created our structures and our systems that we kind of exist in as humans in our modern societies. Okay, that was a lot of words, Emmy. What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you even saying? And why is this even relevant? I'm here to talk about dance stuff. Dance, right? Okay, let's break this down. So first, let me re-say the quote. An artist is paid not for his labor, but for his vision. Okay, so this guy, James Whistler, was a painter back in the 1800s, right? He passed away 1834. So this was priming up to be right before the Industrial Revolution hit. And so he already had this download that he's like, you know what? Artists can't be like defined by a product or something that they output, right? As far as like if putting in terms of like a business product, like a pen or manufacturing paper or a couch or plant, anything, right? And so he already saw that there was this like difference between what business was doing at that point as far as product or service and what an artist does and what they embody. Okay. And so that's really cool of him to notice that difference right away. And then for him to comment on it, it's like, oh yeah, we don't just get paid by the hour as if we were like a railroad worker. We don't just show up and do this thing and then that's it, right? We don't get just paid for our time, but we're actually, as artists, we're part of this whole process of like how we do the things that we do. But at the same time, it's not like we're just off in la la land doing our thing as an artist and we're just like, oh, whatever. Hey to everybody who showed up. Bean Banky, okay. DJ for real, what's up? Caleb just peaced out, but hey, Caleb. But yeah, what I really want to emphasize with this is that, right? So artists aren't just like irrelevant, right? Because also artists, we have to recognize the impact that artists have had throughout history. So whether it be kind of, whether it be stirring up people to mobilize them under an idea or mobilize them to take action about something, or like kind of programming them to think a certain way, to adopt a certain ideology. Like artists are the ones that have cultivated these kind of changes in our history and overall. And so it is because we are very inspired people. We are very tuned in, tapped in, turned on, whatever you want to say. And like, I know some of you are like not really necessarily into the woo woo, but you got to kind of embrace it as an artist, because there's a lot of things that we do that cannot be explained, right? And you can say that, okay, yeah, maybe there's like something, an extra layer to us that makes us really special, that really help us to output things that are weird. to put it into like, I don't know. I don't want to cause any judgment. But anyways, so back to the point, what I'm trying to make here. So with James Whistler's quote about artists being paid for their vision, not their labor, this is super key, because that means the value that we have intrinsically is because of just how we exist and how we operate as a human, right? We're a special breed. We get special downloads. And because we are like tapped in, we see things differently. We notice things. We put pieces together that don't make sense. We are very creative. We like seeing problems as they are, but also being like, well, why don't we just flip it on its head and see what happens with that, right? That is the definition of artistry, right? We think outside the box. That's clearly what we do. And so for us to put it in economic terms, right, for us to be paid for just timing, punching in and punching out, you can't do that with the way that we flow, with the way that we are downloaded with all of this insights and knowledge, right? You can't do that. But we're kind of forced to at times because of the systems that have been created early on, prior, basically during the Industrial Revolution, where efficiency and systems were kind of set in place so that, and metrics, hard metrics needed to be met. KPIs, know what I'm saying? KPIs. All of these things needed to be met so that production could continue. And obviously that helped us create this beautiful world that we live in now. But at the same time, I don't think it's serving us anymore. And I also don't think that it's serving the artist community. It's actually squashing us and our flow and how we operate in the world, and how we can also, we have the potential to really tap into our power and our insights and our visions to gift to the world. But in the systems that we're in right now, it's really hard to, because there's those external pressures that we're like, oh, but we have to fit inside this box that has been created long before our time. So it's a little problematic, right? But James Whistler, he already knew that it wasn't about clocking in and clocking out as an artist, but it is literally about our beingness. Ooh, I'm off on a soapbox. So y'all, please stop me if you have a question or if you have a comment, or if you just want to talk about something else. But this stuff lights me up. So I'm just going to keep talking. I'm just going to keep riffing. So anyways, okay. So let's just continue on with this idea of the Industrial Revolution, right? Creating systems and structures and all this stuff. And actually, did you know that the educational system was actually created by a businessman? I want to say it was Ford, Henry Ford. I don't think that's right. Who created the education system? Googling that right now. The public school system was created by an entrepreneur, by a businessman. And you can honestly say it was kind of rigged, honestly, to begin with. Rockefeller. There you go. Big name, businessman. So Rockefeller basically created this system where, it was like free childcare for workers so that they could focus on working in the factories and producing and riding that Industrial Revolution wave out, right? And so what a convenient consequence of this was that, they could take those children and then also mold them into being the next generation of workers, so that this beautiful, continuous flow of complicit, compliant citizens of the world could continue on this path of being put in a box and being expected to work to generate the business that is America. Oh, I'm getting super political right now. Oh, gosh. I'm an artist. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of what we've been programmed in. And I'm a byproduct of the public school system. And there's many times where I was like, I'm smart. I know I am. But like when I take these tests, these SATs, the standards of learning, all this stuff, like I'm like, maybe I'm not that smart. And my grades were good. You know, I could produce, I could show up in that way. But man, when it came to tests, I felt really dumb. But I knew that I had something else. I knew I had that something special because I also would just be a little bit different. And I always sensed that being differentness about me compared to my classmates. But I never really tuned into that until much later, until I got, out in the world, lived on my own, got educated, had life experiences, all that stuff. Again, process. Process as an artist is key to really cultivating our artistry, not just for the sake of being an artist and being like, yeah, I'm an artist, right? But like literally, like this is in our DNA to like want to tap into, to want to live out and embody. So anyways, the system is kind of rigged against us, is what I'm saying. As far as being an artist, you got a lot of blocks, you got a lot of hurdles to overcome. And so that's also why I want to continue creating space, having conversations about what is relevant to an artist, dancers in particular, because that's my background, but creatives of all sorts. You know, how can we continue supporting each other and like edifying each other in a way that's going to really help create impact, not only in our own little worlds and bubbles that we can control and affect, but like collectively as a community of free thinkers, of inspired souls, of people that are programmed a little bit differently. You know, what can we do to support each other? So this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to show up. So again, if you have any questions, any sorts of comments on what I'm saying, like I'm kind of going deep right now with this stuff. But yeah, it's really about artists being paid and artists creating a way in commerce for their value that they have and not for some sort of product that they're producing. Because that is the days of like systems and structures and productivity via, thank you, Industrial Revolution age, right? But now it's not serving us anymore because all of the jobs that have to do with production and efficiency and systems are now being taken over by technology or AI. And so we're kind of like being forced as a human population to come back to our humanity. And when you think about humanity, you think about arts and culture. And so I don't know if you guys have read Daniel Pink's book, but I think it's called The Whole New Brain. And he talks about this concept of how the economy is slowly coming into an experiential economy. So not gone completely, but lessening are the days that we are focused more so on the product. But now it's about experiences. So we're seeing things like, you know, immersive experiences, immersive art exhibits, immersive events, right? There's event designers that specialize in experiential, immersive curation of sorts. And like beyond that, events, like there's also just art in general. Art causes us to pause and take a moment and to be like, oh, how am I sitting with this? How am I feeling about this? And there's something extra special I will shout out to dancers because there's something about just the human body and shape and form in movement that affects other people, because this is like way OG caveman days, right? You know what I'm saying? Where we were able to communicate with each other and pass energy to each other because of our movement, which is crazy that it has just sustained cultures. Honestly, dance has been integral to that, sustaining cultures and connecting, allowing other people to connect and to release and to just make our human experience a little bit more bearable. And that's why it's still around. That's why it's still kicking. And that's why also, if you see it, movement is being highlighted in all sorts of ways. If you look in the business world, a lot of corporations are using dancers to sell products. So, they've tapped into the power of dance in particular as an art form that moves people, moving them to buy a product. Okay. But, we also have to think about how we want to show up, how we want to use our art, right? So, okay, it's fine if you want to like get paid to like sell a product. That's fine. That's the industry. And if you are going into the industry, that's something that you just kind of do, and you can make your own value system based on that, right? Like, oh, maybe I don't want to take this job because this is with a company that uses, animal cruelty practices or something like that, right? And so you can choose based on that. But also the bigger thing is, just thinking about how the choices that you do make, how they actually do align with you, and also how they kind of affect the collective of the creative community. Because y'all know that we all kind of struggle as far as feeling like we always have, like, the power is in somebody else's court. Like we are pawns in the game, and that we are actually like reliant on other people to give us opportunities to be validated and be paid for our value. And I think that's something that we just need to continuously kind of debunk, the fact that like artists have created ways, looking at history, like artists have created huge changes, like huge enlightenment periods. Like you can look at the days of enlightenment, right? Like that's just like, oh, Renaissance, right? These are all moments in time where artists were like just allowed to have free reign and free roam. They were sponsored by patrons because people already saw the intrinsic value of the art, and the ways that these artists were thinking. And like honestly, that would be the prime kind of ecosystem for artists to thrive in, right? For us to be able to just do our thing and people support us. But because we've been coming out of this system where it's like, how do we put a price tag, and how do we like make a metric that really defines what we do as artists? Because really, when you talk about what you do, it shouldn't be a one-liner. It shouldn't be one short sentence. It should be very convoluted and complicated, because that is literally our work and our process. It's funny because when people even ask me like, what do you do? I'm like, well, what do I not do? Right? I'm just Emmy. And like, as Emmy, I'm just my own brand. I am living life. Everything that I do affects everything else in my life. And so it's really hard for me to compartmentalize. And I think that's fine. Anyways, that was kind of a side tangent. But I just want to continue having these conversations about, being real with ourselves, like where we're at, where we're going, how we can continue to really, really challenge ourselves to think better, think in terms that are going to serve us, right? So if we're thinking about, oh, the only way that we can get paid as a dancer, for example, is like, oh, we have to book gigs, right? Yeah, that's going to give you experience and a paycheck. It's not going to be sustainable in the sense that it's going to be regular, nor is it going to be sustainable for your body, because like your body's going to evolve too. But how can you continue on this trajectory by tapping into your artistry, not just being like, oh, I'm a dancer. I'm a dancer, right? How can you tap into you as an artist? And then from that place, how can you figure out what you really want to do with that? And that tapping into those things at minimum are going to open up opportunities for you. Things will shift. Okay. So that's my challenge for today. Before you dive into the world of making money from your art willy-nilly, do a little inventory of what you actually want to do and figuring out who you actually are as an artist, and start there. And let me tell you, it's a process. Making money from your art is a process, but that process is super juicy in the best way. And there's people like me, and not just me, but there's a lot of people that are here to support you, and you just have to kind of tap into that. So I'm all ears for you guys to help you, to support you in whatever way. Send me a DM, set up a consult call, join my newsletter that's revamping this month. I'm getting it all ready for you guys. So stay in touch, holler at me, and I'm excited. I'll see you in 2 weeks for another Wednesday Live. Send me your questions beforehand, and I wish you well on this Wednesday. Peace.